Hello and welcome to So Easy Sewing's Granite City Block of the Month Block 10 class. We will gather fabrics 1, 5, 11, 12, and 14. From fabric 1, we will cut 16 2.5-inch squares, 16 2.5-inch half square triangles, four 1.5-inch by 12.5-inch rectangles, and four 1.5-inch by 10.5-inch rectangles. From fabric 5, we will cut 10 2.5-inch squares. And 8 1.5-inch quarter square triangles. Make sure when cutting out your quarter square triangles that you are only cutting one layer at a time. From fabric 11, we will cut 8 1.5-inch quarter square triangles. From fabric 12, we will cut 16 1.5-inch quarter square triangles. And finally, from fabric 14, we will cut 16 2.5-inch half square triangles. We will start by sewing together our 10B and 10I pieces. This is Unit A. Next, we will use two 10H, one 10G, and one 10F piece to make hourglass units. These will be called Unit B. When putting together the two sides of your hourglass, make sure that your seams are facing opposite directions so that they push against each other. When pressing our seams for Unit A, we will press our seams towards our darker 10I fabric. For our Unit B hourglass pieces, we will make sure that our side seams are pressed in opposite directions and our center seam is pressed open. Next, we want to make sure that all of our Unit A and Unit B pieces are 2.5 inches squared, and we trim all of our tails. Now on to our rows. We will need 2 10A squares, 2 Unit A pieces, and 1 10E square. For row 2, we will need 2 Unit A pieces, 2 10A squares, and 1 Unit B piece. You want to take special care to make sure your Unit A and Unit B pieces are the correct orientation for each row. For row 3, we will need 3 10E pieces and 2 Unit B pieces. For row 4, we will use 2 Unit A, 2 10A, and 1 Unit B piece. And for our last row, we will use 2 10A pieces, 2 Unit A pieces, and 1 10E piece. And as always, we want to press our row seams in opposite directions. For our first row, we will press our seams in towards the center, then alternate with each following row. Now we will piece our rows. We want to make sure to nestle our seams together and pin them in place so that they press against each other and we have nice flat seams. Make sure your rows are the correct orientation before sewing them together. You can press your seams in either direction. I found it easiest to press rows 2 and 4 in outward directions for my block to lay flat. Now we just need our borders. We will take two 10D rectangles and sew them to opposite sides of our block. And as always, we're going to press our seams out. And lastly, we will use two 10D pieces for our final borders. Then we press and we're done. Congratulations, you've made your 10th block.